Jeez, what?
Sorry, I realized I had the other window open.
Yeah, baby.
Or like an infinite loop of that music.
Doot, 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 doot. Yeah, I know, right? So my internet went down 3 or 4 times in the last 3 days. So there is the off chance. I'm not even going to call it the off chance. There is a possibility my internet will die again. It died during my live stream yesterday. At the very end of my Saturday morning live stream. It died multiple times yesterday, including right after I got my TV set up. So I couldn't test anything. And yeah, it just died left, right, and center. And it's sunny as heck. It's not like it's raining or anything. It's been no clouds in the sky type weather. So fingers crossed that we can get through this. Fingers crossed. We will see. I have no idea. Fingers crossed. I don't know.
I hope so.
I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. There's an actual outage that keeps going on around where I am.
If you go, it's just me, and then
it's just you.
I don't know. I don't know if I carry the whole show by myself. That sounds like your deal.
That's the great cast right there. Is what that is.
Yeah, that's when everyone just drops off.
All right. Well, I mean, why bother? Why bother even waiting any longer? I mean, hope it doesn't ruin Gadget. Yeah, who knows? I mean, can you really ruin GadgetCast? Scrabble sandwich. I'll change it in energy. Right now it's very early Monday once I move back to Saturday. Well, that's actually why we're here. So yesterday just didn't work out it wouldn't have mattered because guess what? I had no internet when we would have been live yesterday, so it didn't even matter.
Yeah, thank God I said, we'll just do it Sunday.
Yeah.
Travis and I need a new time. I don't know if Saturday is the best day going forward because we did a Saturday stream and it seemed like our viewership was like a lot less. Now we've trained people not to come on a Sunday, so maybe this stream's going to be a lot less. I don't know. But I feel like Saturday, 5 o'clock, I feel like people might be doing something else. So we might have to think of something like on a weekday. I'm sure we both have like busy schedules. I don't know what day's the best, but I would love to hear the chat's input on what's like the best day and time for a GadgetCast. I know we ask all the time. We get like a million different responses. Don't say Sunday because we said that last time. Like, I love Sunday. It's like, well, yeah, you're here on a Sunday. Of course you do. But we do have to change the time from Sunday. I think Saturdays are bad.
I mean, we'll stay on Sunday until something makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
Friday night
for that Saturday. Dang, Friday night.
I don't want to compete with Friday Night Viper. I feel like that's
I know, right? That's bad juju. Yeah, I think most people said Saturday. We'll I think for the time being, at least, we'll just be flexible. Again, technically it's an audio podcast with just a little bit of a live stream element to it. So in other words, it doesn't matter for the audio listeners because they just get it when they get it anyway. But for you guys that show up, like we want to do something kind of cool that's easy for you all to make. But we also have people that are overseas. So like I think Rebecca is over in the UK. Obviously 619 where is 619 at?
He's there.
Jimmy Fire says he's a UK time. There's actually a bunch of people in the UK. So yeah. got school during the week. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. All right. Well, anyway, we do have things to talk about. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on this episode because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
This is going to be an easy episode. We got so much to talk about.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
predictions and yeah, let's just get into it. Why not? Let's you about ready?
Yep, I'm good. Let's do it.
On my third roadcast. My brand new roadcast.
That's the original, secret.
I'm doing something different now. I'm plugging into the back now instead of the front because it's the front one that kept falling off. So I'm using the back jack instead now. Okay, so this one's probably going to stay.
Back jack. That's the trick.
That's right. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world, and welcome to a special, it's not really special, it's another episode of the Gadgetcast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host, Travis MCP.
Space travel.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Having a good old time here in the space traveling live stream, and I hope you're enjoying your work week if you're listening to us on audio, which we know you are.
Yes, you better be. Listen, I said it was a special show because we do actually have a lot to talk about. We got the Apple April event that is confirmed last week on Gadgetcast. I think they announced it on like Tuesday. You know, we recorded that on Saturday, so we recorded extra early, and Travis and I were talking about, is there going to be an April event? And both of us were like, no, they announced WWDC. There's no way they're going to announce another event. Joke's on us, because a few days later, they're like, yep, we're doing an event in April. So we got a lot to talk about with the April event. A lot of rumored products there, new iPads, probably for sure, a new iPad Pro, AirTags, maybe AirPods, maybe a new Apple TV. But I think the big wild card rumor, and I think the thing that, the internet, the pulse on the Apple community, I think there's a lot of people that want to see a new iMac, and there's just a ton of like rumors and leaks that we're going to cover in today's show. We're going to cover all that because it's a tech show. But I did want to talk about something else besides tech in the beginning, Travis.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's tech related. You got that new TV. You got like the new LG, what is it? The C1 now? They call it like the C1. They went backwards.
Indeed. It's the C1, baby.
77 inches?
That's right. I went all 77 of them. Because here's what happened. Okay, look, here's the thing. Do I need this new TV? No. But I'll tell you all the rationale if you're interested. So for those of you who don't know, OLED TVs are everything. Like really, if you are a TV fan, you like gaming, they are. And I told Greg about it before he got his. I said, dude, get an OLED. I've had one since 2017 or whatever it was, whatever year mine was. And they're amazing. But mine was the older version, which means it did not support things like 120 hertz for the new video game systems. And it was a weird, it's not even a bug, but it's a weird thing that it did with Apple TV. So I stream everything that I watch, first of all, is streaming. I don't have regular television where I just stream everything. There's this weird bug. Well, not a bug. So my original LG has access to, of course, HDR and Dolby Vision, but it only did Dolby Vision up to 30 hertz, 30 frames per second, which is not a big deal because I don't remember the last time I saw any kind of TV show or movie that's at 60, but you do set it for 60. You can set it for 60 in Apple TV. Now, here's the problem. For whatever reason, if your TV apparently is capable of doing Dolby Vision at 30 frames per second, which is the only thing you're going to see anything on, but not 60, then when you watch YouTube, now go figure this makes no sense. Almost everything is going to show up at 720p. Anything that's 4K on YouTube will show up as 720p on the Apple TV. It took me forever to figure this out. At first I'm like, why am I watching it? Why is it in 720p? It's literally because of that. And it actually has more to do with like how many frames per second, if you're doing like a 4K 60. Anyway, so that was another thing. And then of course, some of the other cool features that this TV has. So I went to my local Best Buy. The gentleman who helped me out actually recognized me from my channel. So
no way. What the
100%. He knew who I was. So I went back and forth a couple times. I was going to get the 60. At first, I was going to get the G1, which is the highest high end. Then I looked at the 65 inch because I have a 65 inch. I want to get a 65 inch, but I noticed that the base was larger than my table that I have my TV on. So I'm like, okay, I got to go down one step down to the C1. And there's a couple of really interesting YouTube channels that review TVs. And there's this channel called HD TV Test. I highly recommend people watching that channel. It's an Asian guy who constantly is throwing in sexual innuendos into his videos, like just randomly, but like almost, he does it in such a nonchalant manner that the only way you heard what you heard is he puts a little sound effect that goes ding, like right as he says something. And you're like, okay, so it's a weird channel. He doesn't always do it, but like, the first time I'm like, did he just say what I think he said? And yes, he did. So he reviewed the C1. Said it's great and it's especially great for gaming. I say, okay. So I go back to the Best Buy store, talk to the guy, I'm gonna get that 65. And while I'm there talking to him, I see the 77-inch from last year. And I'm like, the size is so nice. That's a nice size. And he shows me, I go, how much more is that? It's a lot more. I'm like, all right. So I go home, I think about it. And you know me, I go big or go home. I don't buy myself a lot of things, but I'm like, I use my TV a lot. So I'm going to do it big. So I got the 77-inch. They brought it over, had my friend help me put it up. It's amazing. I love it.
So when I was deciding, I got the last year model, the LG OLED. Mm-hmm. When I was deciding, I was actually deciding between what I currently had was a 55-inch TV. And I was kind of like, I should probably just get another 55, save a bit of money. But then it was calling me the 65-inch for the bigger size, what you were using. Mm-hmm. And when I just kept going back and forth in my head. And like, eventually I just settled on the 65. I'm like, you know what? Like, I spent like all year home. Like I'm not going to like movie theaters anymore. I just want this to look amazing. Got the 65 and I was like, this is way too big. But then like a week later, I was like, oh, this is normal. So it's funny when you got like the 77-inch where you just like, when you like, now, if you've never unboxed an OLED TV before, it is one of I don't even know how you unbox the 77-inch. It's like the hardest thing in the world. Like you can like break it like very easily.
I had to have a friend come over because I was very worried about it. They are pretty thin. They even tell you in instructions you can snap it.
Really?
Like if you do it wrong, you can snap the screen. They're so thin.
And you don't like expect it because you're paying like $3,000 for like these panels. And like you go to like take it out of the box and it's like you got to take it out a certain way. Mm-hmm. And as you're like trying to like put it on the stand or put it on the wall, if you even like glance at like the top of it, you can like, I feel like you could just like poke into that and snap the panel off. It is outrageously thin. It is too thin. I would prefer like a thicker panel that I wouldn't have to like worry about setting up. Like that would be a better product to me. Like I get like you can make them thin, people put them on their walls. Hey, make it a little bit thicker so I can take it out of the box without worrying about snapping it. Like it was so nerve-wracking for me to get the LG OLED, but it's totally worth it. Like OLED is the best TV technology right now. 100%. I love mine. I'm sure that 77, it must look like amazing. Like
yeah, and the other thing is because I redid my back theater room and it's now more of where I shoot my videos, so it's harder to watch movies in there. So I kind of lost the theater. I decided that I'm going to watch more movies and stuff out in the living room, which is where I used to shoot my videos. So it made more sense just to get the bigger TV. I'm holding on this for a long time because I'm spending all that money. Plus, it's big and it has all the features that are going to last me quite a long time. So I'm good. And it's I have a big area for it anyway, so it doesn't look necessarily strange. It is definitely a bigger experience, but just like anything else, you get used to it after a while. And I can already tell I'm going to get used to it. I'll be like, oh, it's just a normal size TV. I go to anywhere else, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that size. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I played a couple games on it. I did try a couple of 120 hertz games. Pretty interesting. Some are more interesting than others. Very exciting stuff though. The technology is fantastic. Going to watch some more movies today. Watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier on it, the last episode. And Mythic Quest, which is one of my favorite Apple TV shows. They recently released a new episode, which is a teaser for the new season that comes out in May. I love that show.
Did you watch that yet?
Yeah, I did, of course.
Oh, yeah, I watched that this morning, strangely enough. So
love that show.
Yeah, and the teaser episode is really good too.
And you know what was really, really good is the quarantine episode they did, where I think they shot the entire show on iPhones, which is nuts.
Yeah, insane. And it looked really good. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, so Mythic Quest is great. That's like one of my favorite Apple TV Plus shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for the second season. That's coming out in May. That's pretty soon. Yep. So I'm gonna get Mythic Quest season 2. Probably, I think like maybe morning show's better, but I don't know. I think Mythic
morning
Quest
show's but I haven't heard anything about it coming back. When is it?
I don't know when they're doing the second season. Production's been like delayed on all these. I was actually surprised like Mythic Quest was coming back so soon. I'm like, oh, they got that up and rolling. And I think they got a bigger budget based on like that teaser episode.
Yeah, my gosh.
Stuff in that episode. I was just like, whoa, that's like pretty intense. Like,
yeah,
they must have got It's a pretty penny from Tim Cook.
I mean, maybe they saved all the money from that one episode where they shot it on iPhones and got to use it for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about this Apple event. Travis, new iPads, right? Like
I'm pretty sure.
Like, I mean, like it's got to be there at this point. I think like latest rumors are like saying like a new gold color option for the iPad, and that's about it. Like, I don't like. There's a lot about that iPad Pro. We've talked about it a ton. I still think the wording on the street is that it's the bigger one's only going to have the mini LED, like the big upgrade, and then the smaller 11-inch is just going to be the same display. And it's just going to have the A14X as like its flagship upgrade. So I was actually looking at like Apple keyboards and stuff like that, because like Amazon had like the sales again for like the Magic keyboards. I was going to recommend them to people because it was like $100 off. I heard another rumor, and I actually saw like some like leaked photos of a new Apple Pencil. And there was talk that there would be a new version of the Magic Keyboard. Now, I don't know like what more they could do with that keyboard design. I would hope like maybe they can make it like lighter somehow, or I don't know, maybe put like a little bit more on the angle. Or what I think it might be is like there's rumors that these next iPads might have a Thunderbolt port. So I'm guessing maybe like the keyboard will just adopt like a Thunderbolt port too, and you'll get like two of them. But I kind of like backed off a little bit. Like the keyboard sales are like really good, and then I was like, oh, like they might do something new. It's Apple. Like and I was getting like scared. Like, what if like the old keyboards don't work with the new iPads? Like, I don't know.
Don't say that. Don't say that, because I have the 12.9 inch. The keyboard for that is stupid expensive. I even did a video about it when it came out. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It better work, or I'm kicking Tim Cook in the apples, because it's not right. They can't do that. So I'm just going to assume it's going to work, and the pencil, because I'm not doing this. Apple is not. No, I'm not doing this. 619 says, did we get an email about the iPad? So maybe we should check that out, because we're talking about.
I was going to just bring that up. I had it all queued up. 619. Let me do the show. 619. Don't worry. I'm an expert. I'm an expert at this. Okay. So we do have a question from 619 who says, would you rather iPad Pro with A14X chip, but no mini LED screen, same as the old LCD screen, or iPad Pro with the A14 chip with mini LED screen? So you would lose out. He's basically asking us a hypothetical, like, what's more important to us, the processor or the new screen technology? So he's saying, would you rather get the new chip with all of its processing power, or use like the iPad Air's chip? I have an answer for it.
Okay, go ahead.
I think at this point that I use the A12X iPad Pro. I've used the A12 regular iPad. I use the A14 iPad Air. They're all very similar in experience. All these different chips. Like, Apple is very far ahead in its chip design. And at this point, I don't do anything on my iPad that's like, oh, I wish I had more power. But I could always use we're just talking about OLED TVs and how great they look. I could always use a better display. If like these mini LED displays look similar to like an OLED display with just like different technology, sign me up. I would take the mini LED display any day. I would take the older chip. How about you, Travis?
I need to see both before I could tell. In other words, I need to see the performance of the A14X, and I need to see what mini LED looks like. My thought is mini LED, because it's something I'm going to see the difference on. But I also just want to know, because if the reality is I kind of barely see a difference between the two displays, but I do see a performance difference, then obviously I'm going to go with that. So I need to see both to be able to answer that. Having said that, if I couldn't and it was a blind thing, that I'd probably say mini LED, just because I want to see if it looks close to OLED.
Yeah, like I think these mini LED displays are gonna look really good for some reason. I don't know. Like, Apple displays, to me, they always look really nice. And every time they introduce a new display technology, like when they did like Retina for the first time, when they did the ProMotion for the first time, like these were like big upgrades. And I'm expecting the same for mini LED. I hope I'm not hyping it up too much, because I know OLED still is technically like the superior technology. But with some of that Apple magic in there, maybe they got something that I'm not really something I'm not wise of, and they got like a really nice way to make that screen just like pop. Like I really want to see this screen, enough so that I've decided, like, if the smaller version doesn't have mini LED, I'm getting the bigger version. Like I'm not getting that feature at this point. So hope we answered your question. We did answer your question, 619. So, just let me run the show. I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert. I don't miss emails or voicemails. I'm always on top of my game. Okay. So thank you.
Yeah. So I see Craig said something about OLED has a lot of downsides, which keep me out of that camp. Burn-in is like not even an issue on OLED anymore. Even the TVs have what's called pixel shift. So it shifts the entire image over like 1 pixel over a period of time, and you can set that up and you never have burn-in. So there's a ton of creators that have OLEDs, especially some of the TV review channels. They never see burn-in. You'd have to have extreme cases. You can burn in on an LCD, like you can burn in on anything. But there's technology that kind of eliminates that as an issue. And the same thing. If you think Apple wouldn't do something like that, you'd be silly, my friend. They would definitely. Pixel shift is such an easy thing to program into the operating system that it's a non-issue. So, yeah, I mean, I want to see what the display technology looks like. They've been able to do some really amazing things with LCD, which is kind of weird to say. I mean, some of the LCDs look really good. Like, I keep talking about how good the screen on the MacBook Air looks, and I don't even know why it looks as good. It's just an LCD screen. It's not a big deal, but it looks really good. So, yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing that. And one thing I will say, one thing that I said, and thank goodness almost no one saw the video because I would probably have to do a bunch of mea culpas. I did a video like a week or so ago, like what kind of things we can pay attention to, what we might see in the, or what we won't see in the upcoming presentation of Apple. And one of the things I said we wouldn't see is an iMac, but I don't know. Maybe we will. Thank God no one saw that video because I don't want a whole bunch of people in my comment section going, "You said you were going to do this." Bruh.
Well, I might get that comment because I made a video and at the end, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of like hype for this iMac. But don't expect it. Like, I'm not expecting it to come out. And then, like, ever since I've said that, like, the amount of information coming out basically pointing to like this imminent release of the iMac. I don't know. Like, now I'm overhyping myself, which is a bad thing to do. I'm not taking my own advice. Like, I was like, don't get hyped for this. It's probably not going to be there. There's a chance, as always, but it's probably not going to be there. And then I just keep seeing like Love to Dream. He's like this cryptic Apple leaker, and he's just like, oh, new colors are nice. Oh, let me tweet this Apple ad of like the old iMacs and all like these colors. And it's like, okay, this thing is like coming out because this guy has got a pretty good track record. John Prosser was the first one who said the new iMacs are coming out in new colors. So this is another leaker going along with that story. So I think and Mark Gurman also was like, he just like tweeted out like, how do you think people will react with an iMac with basically an iPad chip inside of it, like a big iMac with an iPad chip? Is that something that would be good? And yeah, I don't know. That tweet was kind of weird because I thought these new Macs would have like the next generation of the M1 in it, but maybe these are just going to have M1, like not M1X, just like an M1 chip. And there's not going to be any difference between the current M1s, and it's just going to be a redesign on the iMac. And they could totally do that. They could take those lower end iMacs, like the 21 inches, put M1 chips in it, do a redesign on it. And I think that would be enough. That wouldn't be enough for like the 27 inch because those are more powerful and you would like to see a bigger speed bump on that. But for like the regular iPad, if they want to release one size, if they want to release the entry level models like they did with the other M1 Max, I really think that's something that could happen.
Well, I thought the iMac was more targeted towards like your average consumer, so like your kind of your lower end. I don't even know. This is one of the things that always confused me about Apple's products. Mac, iMac. What the hell is the difference? Can someone explain this to me, please?
So iMac, like back in the day, that's totally it. It was the computer for everyone. It was like the equivalent of like an iPhone. It's like, hey, get this computer. It's all in one. It's easy to set up. You plug it in, comes with a mouse and keyboard. It's all there for you. You don't have to get a desktop tower. You don't have to get a PC monitor. You don't have to get speakers. So that's what it was. But, as time evolved, everyone's main computer these days is their smartphone. So people aren't going out to buy iMacs like they used to. And the iMac has kind of shifted where like these entry-level models, yeah, like a lot of like retail will get them. It's still a popular home computer, I'm guessing, in terms of like overall sales compared to other desktop towers. But like the bigger 27-inch iMac and some of the more powerful configurations of it have become really popular with like content creators, like people like us, because they have everything built in. They have like super nice screens. And the power was getting like performant. Like they were putting in nice CPUs in there, pretty decent graphics cards for AMD. And it was, like photographers and video editors, especially, combined with like that 5K Retina display, it was a super popular computer for content creators. So the iMac is in like this weird position now where it is kind of like the device for content creators. And I think that, these new versions are going to probably lean into that even more as these markets continue to shrink, because average consumers are probably doing most of their stuff on their smartphone, maybe getting a tablet, maybe getting a laptop. But the average person out there isn't going to buy like an iMac for the home computer as much as they did in the past.
Well, so then where does the Mac then?
What Mac? Like Mac.
So then what is the Mac versus the iMac used to be this thing and now it became this new thing. What the heck is a Mac then?
Just a regular Mac?
So there's Mac Pro, right?
Yeah, there's no Mac. Like there's Mac Mini, there's Mac Pro,
that's my point. Like, so there's a Mac Mini, but the Mac Mini in a lot of ways is basically what would be an iMac Mini if there was such a thing consumer wise, right? But the Mac Mini is definitely not you can do some professional level stuff, but it doesn't come off to me as something that's a professional level piece of hardware. So I'm really confused.
Well, the Mac Mini, the whole concept of that too was like an entry level computer back in the day for people who didn't want to buy an expensive iMac and who are used to desktop towers. And the Mac Minis changed too. Mac Minis are used a lot in professional settings for like servers. People use them for like all sorts of tasks. You can use it for like video encoding, for streaming. Mac Minis are very popular actually in the professional community. I would say the Mac Mini is probably less popular as a home computer than the iMac is. I think that's more of a consumer product than the Mac Mini at this point. It's the role of the computer overall has changed over the years. I don't like the Mac Pro, that's like really professional. Like, yeah, there's YouTubers who have a Mac Pro and they're making YouTube videos, but they got like a lot of subscribers. They can afford it. But that really is for like Hollywood level productions of like stuff, like not like 10-minute YouTube videos, like 2-hour and 30-minute productions with tons of like color grading, rendering, 3D modeling, all that stuff that would like really hurt the computer. But like an iMac is fine for most people. Honestly, Travis, with like the M1, like a MacBook Air is probably fine for like 95% of like content creators out there at this point. So, the roles of these computers keep changing. I don't know how much more powerful the M1 can get like year over year at this point. I know like we're looking at like numbers and stuff. There's a lot of improvements they can make. But if you're using like a lot of like Apple programs like Final Cut, like the performance bump is already there. So maybe this iMac comes out, maybe it has M1. Maybe there's more RAM in it, more memory. That's like a limitation on these current M1s. If they can do like 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, if they can up the graphics, I don't know. I think a lot of that stuff would cater to like these higher end users. But you're right. The market it's a confusing market to be in for just computers in general. Laptops are, a lot of students need laptops, but like a desktop iMac, it's not like the most popular thing in the world at this point.
Yeah, I mean, MacBook Air obviously sounds like something that would be for consumer, where a MacBook Pro, I mean, it's in the name. Like it makes sense to me. I don't know. What I think what they're doing, I mean, everyone's excited about something that should not be super exciting. And it's because of the M1 series of chips, right?
Listen, like you go on the street to like the average consumer and you're like, are you excited about the new iMac? They're like, no, like I'm waiting for the new
iPhone or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, but like you go into like the Apple community on Twitter, and that's what you're seeing. Like, yeah, everyone who's like an Apple enthusiast, even if they're not going to buy this computer, they just want to see it because it's something new. I mean, we're talking about a product here that had the same design since 2012. Like, people are just excited because it's something new, and they want to see what this thing's going to look like, whether or not they buy it. It's like the same excitement when the Mac Pro came out. And like that $5,000 display, like people were just excited to see it because it was something new, because we're enthusiasts. We like to see like the new tech, but like everyone in like Twitter is not going to buy this. Like most people are just going to get like a MacBook Air at this point, and that's going to be like more than enough. I just did a video the other day. I did the Travis MCP route. I bought a refurbished MacBook Air from Apple, certified refurbished.
I saw that. I thought it was cool. It was a cool little video.
Thank you. But yeah, like I was like using that computer, and I was just like, you know what? Like, this is like, you have the MacBook. It's such a solid laptop.
Yeah.
Like, it really is for the price point. And I was like, at $850, I'm like, this is like a really good deal. And then I got like people in the comments going, I would never buy a used product.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, you unboxed a refurbished MacBook Air. And like, I've done like Amazon refurbished and all these other, like, it's the best experience. Like, it is new. Like, the cables are new. The power brick is new. Like, the outside looks so pristine. It looks like no one ever used it. Like, I don't even know like how like strict their process is. It's crazy. Yeah,
I think, for me, it looks like a really ridiculously good value. I just actually released a video the other day talking about the iPad Pro versus the MacBook Air and why I'm using my iPad Pro a little bit more. But I still have a tremendous amount of respect for the Air. And if you could get a 16 gig version renewed, that would be an even like doper setup. But for people that are just looking to save money, that's a hell of a deal. An $850 MacBook Air with the M1, this thing's only been out for a couple months.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And then I got everyone telling me not everyone. A lot of people actually, like, the video was well received. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people said, I bought a refurbished MacBook Air. You're 100% right. Like, this is like one of the best deals. And all Apple products, like, they have like a pretty big refurbished section. And if you're getting something like an iPhone, I think they like they replace like the outer part, the part that you would touch. They completely replace all that stuff on the iPhone, which is important, right? Because like, that's where like buying a used product, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. Do I want to like get like a used phone? Like, I'll clean it, but I did with the Amazon, and actually that was good. But yeah, like they take care of you with the refurbished stuff. So I think it's a great way to save money. As we both know, it's kind of hard to save money on Apple products. Renewed and used seem to be the way to go. Luke Miani, a friend of the show, basically built his YouTube channel at the start going over like the ways you could save money on Macs by going on eBay and buying them used and what to look for. And I think Luke would agree that a $850 M1 MacBook Air, that is a stellar value.
Yeah. And he's done he actually just recently did a video about the iPhone 5 or something, buying like a sealed iPhone 5 or something like that. Which ironically, I was looking for like an iPhone 5S or something like that for a video like a couple of weeks back. But yeah, it's interesting. Every company is a little bit different with how they treat like refurbs or renews or whatever. But I feel like Apple for sure, and Samsung probably too, really understand that when they send it back out to a customer, they don't want that to come back a second time. It's already cost them money because remember, it originally was new and then it was returned. So they're just trying to keep the bleeding from happening again. So they've spent a little bit extra time. At this point, they very likely are just straight up losing money on the deal. So they definitely don't want it back again. They want to make sure if they send it out, it's going to be in good quality. So I believe Apple and even Samsung and some of the larger companies that are doing refurbs right now are going to do a really good job at that. So hats off to them. I love that program.
Yeah. And honestly, like even like with Amazon Renewed, like I've basically had like pretty good experiences overall with everything I've gotten. But like there's times where like with Amazon and stuff, you can get like not that great. And then I've done like used for like B&H and stuff like that, Best Buy. Like there's times where like, did I ever tell my horror story with Amazon Renewed on this show?
I don't think so.
So this was a really bad one, and this is something you gotta be careful with. I think it'd be harder to do with a phone, but I bought an Amazon Renewed lens, and they sent like it was like a $1,700 lens. They sent me a $200 kit lens, So that was an awful experience. And I was like paranoid like the whole time. Like, I'm going to send this back and they're going to be like, that's not the lens. And I'm like, no,
that's scary.
Like someone made out like a bandit. Someone bought that lens, returned it, gave him like the crappy lens, and they didn't get caught, which is crazy. I wonder if they can track it after I sent like that report. And I want them to be like, excuse me.
Yeah, it depends. So I know that like some companies like Amazon, they pay attention to people's returns. And well, I mean, they pay attention to everyone's returns, but like there is a I don't know. There's some. I can tell you what it's called. It's an actual term that Amazon uses for the percentage of returns versus the percentage of purchases you make. It's called a sugar index, and they use it to pay attention to return abuse. So you can return, anything in Amazon pretty much, but the higher end, the thing is, the longer you'll wait for your money back, and B, like the more scrutiny you're under, and camera stuff is usually really under high scrutiny because of what you experience. And that's why a lot of people like they might return a whole bunch of little stuff. And the thing is, you never have a problem, but then all of a sudden you try to return like a I don't know, like a camera lens, for example, and they're good. Now you got to wait longer for your return it has to get all the way there before they give you credit. Like all these extra things. Cameras are one of the pieces of technology that is absolutely abused on Amazon. So it's just an interesting little thing.
Yes, Peter, we're live. Someone asked if we're live. It's not old recording. Well, maybe it is an old recording now if people are watching this and be like, oh, wait. Is this
yeah, it's live. It's live only if you're here now.
Yeah. So yeah, we overall good experience Amazon renewed, but yeah, the camera lens, that kind of like I'll probably never buy a renewed camera lens after that, because like but like I'm guessing like Amazon renewed, like sending back like a phone if you bought it from Amazon. If they got fooled by a camera lens, I think maybe a phone could be easy, depending on like how it looks. Like if you're trading in like a like a 10 for like a 11, might be
unless you already know, like unless you're really familiar with what it is. A camera lens would be super easy to get on someone who doesn't know. Super easy. So yeah.
But yeah, the going back to the iMacs and stuff like that, I'm really excited for it. I hope it comes out, because like I would love to cover that. It's gonna be painful on my wallet. Especially if they're doing like a staggered release. Like if it, like I'm predicting, like if it is coming out, it's just going to be the smaller version. We're going to have to wait for the bigger version to come out. Cause then I'm gonna have to buy two of them. I would prefer to just buy one to review, but I know I'm going to want the big 27-inch one. But like if a new iMac comes out with like a new design, like that's something that my channel just has to review. So
that's great. So what is your current thought process behind what you are and are not? You're going to buy at least one of almost everything, right? Is there something that you definitely won't buy? Like air tags or something, or are you definitely buying everything?
Air tags are not going to be that pricey, so it like I'll just get it just to review it and just to know what I'm talking about. I mean, like I don't know. So when I was smaller, like I wouldn't cover everything. I don't know. Like at this point, I feel like I could pretty much get everything in Apple's release. I mean, okay, the Mac Pro, I didn't cover that. Like that was too expensive for me. I won't get it. The display, I couldn't get that. I won't cover it. I covered the stand, but I won't get the display. MacBooks, there's might be some I skip. Like if they came out with like the 14-inch and the 16-inch model, I would pick which one I wanted and review that. I don't think there's any reason to review both of them, unless like there was no content for like 5 months and it's like, oh, they came out with two new ones. Then maybe I'd be like, all right, I'll review two of them. Maybe I'll sell the other one. With like these M1 Macs though, I got every single one to review, which was rare for me, but I was like in a good enough position where I was like, oh, I can do that now. I can get they were cheaper than like what you usually spend for a Mac, but yeah. So same thing with the iPad, right? Like I'm not going to get an 11-inch iPad and a 12-point, like I'm going to get one and review it. I'm not going to review the one that doesn't have the mini LED stuff, I guess. So there's a bar, but stuff like AirTags, like that's going to be like what, like $50 probably. So why not review it?
Yeah.
I actually like going into products where like I'm very skeptical of it, and I am on the record of this GadgetCast podcast. I think AirTags, like I'm not going to like them because I don't really see a need for them. If the technology works well, I have to hand it to it because there are people who lose everything. There are people who need who want this tracker stuff. But for me, I just don't think it's worth it to buy a bunch of trackers, put them on everything, and then maybe there's a chance I lose something. But how much money did I invest into this system where I'm gonna break even?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a limit for Apple stuff. But yeah, I'm probably reviewing at this point in my channel. I'm probably reviewing about everything they release.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of understand what your line is. We've had a lot of questions on GadgetCast. I know in my comment section, I guarantee in your comment section about well, do I wait to get the Air now? And I mean, at this point, wait, because you're only a couple days away, right? We don't expect there to be something that's going to cannibalize anything that came out in the last 6 months. We don't expect that, but you just never know. This last year with Apple has been really strange. So anything can happen. So just wait a couple days, especially depending on when you're listening to this show. And then make your decision based on that. And then don't be, and the other thing is, I'm worried that some people will go, okay, maybe they do come out with an iMac or whatever. Even if they came out with another MacBook, which we have no indication that that's going to happen. Let's just assume that they do. That all of a sudden people are going to poo-poo last year's MacBooks. I mean, they are last year. Don't do that. They are still ridiculously good. They're still going to be ridiculously good next year when the M3 comes out. Don't dismiss what's already out because it's established. By the way, it's established. The one thing about new technology is you just never know what the problems can be for the first run. Let someone else be the guinea pig.
Yeah, let me do it.
Yeah, let Greg do it. Let him spend all his big money to do that. Don't be fooled into thinking that all of a sudden, because there's a new announcement and new products come out, that all of a sudden all of the devices that are out there that are being sold are no longer any good. Don't do that to yourself. It's a trap. Don't do it.
It's wise stuff, man. If I wasn't reviewing all this stuff, I would not be buying a new computer or new iPad, as much as new phone. At this point, I would hold on to my phone for at least 3 years at this point. I tell that to everyone in my reviews. I'm like, hey, if you got a phone that's within the last 3 years, there's probably no reason to upgrade. So in a way, I kind of miss that, being an average consumer. I kind of miss just saving my money like that. My iPhone 11 was still going strong. I didn't need to switch over to the 12, but it's I got to review it.
Exactly.
I like reviewing it. Don't get me wrong. It's a blessing to be able to get all the new technology, but hey, if you're not doing this for a job,
yep.
If you don't have a ton of money, maybe it's your hobby, you have a ton of money, whatever brings you joy, go for it. But average consumers and stuff like that, they're always worried about missing out on at this point, very small gains. Even if this new iMac comes out and it has a new chip and it's twice as fast, are you going to be able to take advantage of twice as fast? I won't probably be able to take advantage of twice as fast, to be honest with you. Maybe someone like Jonathan Morrison could, but me, I can't. So there's a lot of people who are they're buying a computer, I don't know, go on Facebook with you don't need 2 times the performance increase. The MacBook Air is gonna be fine for you. And again, the MacBook Air, it can do video editing too. You're gonna be fine for a long time with that computer. There's people in my comment section, because I cover all this, there's people who are hey, I just finally replaced my 2012 MacBook Pro with a new M1, and it's if you're an average person, you could use those older computers for a long time. I mean, again, not to bring him up twice in the show, Luke Miani talks about all the time, hey, this older laptop still performs really well. It's worth it for you.
Yeah. I think you find what works. And it's funny because before I became a tech YouTuber, whatever the hell I am, I would get phones every year, but the gains were significant. They really were. I mean, you would see a difference in the camera. Camera quality always was getting not just a little bit better where you put them side by side and you got, I'm not even sure which phone is which in this picture, substantially better. But now, 100%, I would be holding on to my phones much longer now. And in some cases, I still may at this point, because I'm starting to see I had less problems with my camera on my 11 Pro Max than I have on my 12 Pro Max. I've had these weird focusing problems on a 12 Pro Max sometimes. So,
oh really?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it. So a lot of times it's out of focus when I'm trying to take pictures. Just weird. So I don't know. For me, that's kind of what I think. Also, I want to point out that Samsung also, and I did a video about this and no one watched. They're presenting They're unpacked. Now, we don't normally see an unpacked for them at this time of year. And the timing is really funny because, they announced, I think, the same day that Apple announced theirs. But their show is actually, I think, a week or so after. And they apparently are going to announce some laptops as well, which is interesting. And they're calling it the most powerful Galaxy ever, which is almost clickbait because when you think Galaxy, you're thinking phones. But their tablets and laptops also carry the Galaxy name. And I almost feel like Samsung is fooling themselves into thinking that there is a pent-up demand, so much so that people want to watch a live stream about Samsung laptops. I don't know why they're doing this. It's not to say that they won't be excellent laptops, but I mean, I might flip through the YouTube link just to see what's going on, but there's not a clamoring for this. It's very strange.
Maybe like we've heard about like PC shortages, like these chip shortages. Maybe they're just trying to take advantage of the moment. Like people are buying like laptops left, right, and center. Like it doesn't matter at this point. Like people just need to get them for like work at home stuff. So maybe they're really trying to take advantage of that and be like hype up their laptops to be like, hey, buy the Galaxy Book. Are there any like rumors that maybe like they're switching over to like a different chip? Like, are they going to make the chips for the Galaxy Books or
no? So they have two different versions. One it's a Snapdragon, one that'll be an Intel. So an ARM based version, kind of like not exactly like an M1 powered, definitely not of the level of an M1, like laughably not at the level of an M1. But and by the way, real quick, I did mention in my last video, really exciting news that Parallels has been updated for M1 Max to now support Windows. So if you've been holding off on getting one of the M1 Max because you can't use Windows on it, you no longer have that excuse. And not only does it work well, I was watching, I think, Max Tech's channel, and they were running some games on it. Like I think Grand Theft Auto 5, even though, it wasn't running like super, super smooth, it was running and it was running fine, and everything else about Windows ran. And you can swap between instances of it like instantly. You just swap to the left and all of a sudden you're on OS, and you swap back and you're back into Windows. Like it's instantaneous. Like it's crazy. So it now becomes, in my mind, the best laptop out there, unless you're a gamer. But for Samsung, again, I don't understand why their quality of their laptops and tablets is actually really good. If you hold one, they are excellent. They're really well done. But I don't know if I've ever met a person that's had one. And I don't know if they're selling well to a specific like type of is it to schools? I don't doubt it's to schools. I don't like, who are they selling them to so much so that they feel like they need to have a presentation, which is also going to cost them money, when they could just send out press releases and get the same amount of kind of press. Like there's no reason for them to do this other than to clickbait people into an Unpacked event.
Maybe they got some sort of surprise. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I really don't know the reasoning behind it, especially if they don't do these events ever. Maybe there's some big surprise with these Galaxies. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of curious about the event now. Like I kind of wasn't, but like there's got to be a reason for this event. They got to want to show something. You're right though. I don't really see people using like premium Galaxy Book stuff. Maybe like some like cheaper like Chromebook style. But I don't really see Galaxy Books out in the wild.
No, not really. But we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll come out with something that's like, oh my God, I must have this. I need to have it now. Please buy me one.
Maybe it'll be like a folding Galaxy Book. Would that get your attention? That's a possibility.
Well, Franklin asked the question, why wouldn't Samsung hold an event? Because there's no reason to. First of all, Apple holds events because people watch them. I've showed this on multiple of my videos, that the amount of people that watch Apple events dwarfs the amount of people that watch Samsung events. Not to say that the product is any better. It's just a fact of the numbers. And for this, the people who would be interested in this likely aren't watching the live stream anyway. Like they're not paying attention to this. They probably don't even know that there's the people who really like these events, the people who are on the cutting edge and need to know this, let me do the new phone. A lot of them are journalists and a lot of them are tech heads. You can do the same thing by sending the products out to some of the tech websites and the tech tubers and let them do reviews on them and be done, and save yourself the money of the presentation and ultimately the potential backlash of the people who don't know that this is essentially a clickbait and that it is going to have nothing to do with phones. Like there are a large number of people who are going to go into that and going, oh, cool, they're going to show the new Flip or Fold. And they're probably not going to. And then you're going to get this backlash. This happened with Intel and Microsoft with their videos on the MacBook stuff. That seems to have completely backfired on them. So I don't know. It's just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
Yes.
Apple event, all that stuff. I think it's going to be an interesting one. We're either going to come away with it, I guess, really excited or really disappointed because now there's so many expectations on it. Again, I don't know. Maybe we'll see the iMac. I feel like it's coming. iPad Pro for sure. AirTags. I mean, they got to release that. And maybe new Apple TV. Travis says, who needs a new Apple TV? What's it going to do for you?
Well, right. Funny thing you say. I literally was thinking about that today. The rumor is 120 hertz, which of course nothing.
Yes,
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're not watching any videos on 120 hertz. So the assumption would be gaming, but gaming at 120 hertz needs the processing power of a beast, and the resolution drops dramatically. And I'm trying to think of what games. Well, I mean, Apple Arcade could probably support a bunch of 120 hertz games because they're not like super powerful, I guess. But even then, like what's the point? The point is they need to refresh that darn thing. And I might buy it anyway. I don't know. I might still buy it because now I have 120 hertz television.
Yeah. I think I've heard like Renee talk about this before. If we had him on, we could ask him. But I think like with 120 hertz too, it's like divisible by like 24. So you actually get like a better like 24 frames per second experience too. So it actually does benefit like movies and stuff like that, even if it's not even if you're not playing it at 120 hertz. So I think they'd want to do 120 hertz on the Apple TV if they're going to, especially because the rumor is that this next Apple TV upgrade is a lean in more towards gaming. I think that's a really smart move for them. Because the current Apple TV is really expensive. I like it a lot. It's expensive though. Like most people are just going to use like their built-in smart TV at this point, or get like a cheap like Chromecast or whatever, like an Amazon stick, whatever. But if they lean into gaming, there's a chance they could make something out of it. I don't have any faith in Apple to kind of execute this strategy because the gaming market's so different. Home TV gaming market's very different from like mobile gaming. But the power is there, strangely enough. Like that Apple TV, if you put an A14 in it, if you put an A14X, like this next iPad chip, the power is there to make a really compelling home gaming experience at $200. I mean, people buy the Nintendo Switch like crazy, and that would be less powerful than what Apple would be able to put out. Like that device would be less graphically capable than this next Apple TV. And Apple already has, like, everyone like has the iPhone already. So they don't even need to work on a mobile gaming strategy. It's already there. People already have the mobile games. If they could pivot that into like a successful home console product, I think it would be like hugely successful. The only problem is like, I just don't see like Apple like catering to that. Like, I don't think they're going to include like a controller in the box, which is what they need to do. And then they also need to invest heavily on like a bunch of like AAA gaming experiences that you can only get on the Apple TV. And that would really just push it for a lot of people. They could do it. They have the money to do it. It's just like an execution of strategy. And I just feel like with Apple, like gaming, it's just not in their heart for whatever reason,
This is why they need to like team up with Microsoft for like Xbox Game Pass, the streaming, and just have a native app on the Apple TV and stuff. Like they should just go. If they're not going to, that is if they don't have any ambitions of their own, which I suspect they have ambitions on everything.
They have Apple Arcade. Like they must have ambitions of like making money out of this market. They actually just did like a huge Apple Arcade update like a couple weeks ago. Like I was looking at some of the titles. I think they had like NBA in there. Like there were some pretty good titles in there. And I was like, I should check that out.
Yeah. I was shocked.
But at the same time, I am not like a mobile, I don't play like games on my phone really too much. I like home console kind of stuff. And the games that are available on like the Apple TV, like do not interest me at all. Like it's like, all right, these are games to like waste time with. Like if you're like standing in line somewhere, I want like a compelling experience. I want a good story. I want like addictive multiplayer. Games on your iPhone aren't really doing that. I think they just came out. They did come out with League of Legends on iPhone. That is an extremely popular game on PC. Maybe that'll start to kind of usher us into like this next iteration of like AAA gaming, or, you know, I don't know. I don't want to use the term like hardcore gaming for like iPhones and Apple TV stuff. I say all this knowing that technically Apple makes the most money in gaming. It's just not the gaming that I think the people listening to this show or, you know, really care about. Like enthusiast gamers, they want a PlayStation 5, they want a Series X, they want PC gaming kind of style. And you just don't really have that on the phones right now. I would love for Apple to release like their own, and this is the way they would do it and they would win. Release your own controller, like use like the connectors, like the smart connectors, attach that to like your iPhone. Like if you release that accessory, I think that would be like huge, because right now the biggest problem with smartphone games is touchscreen controls suck. Like you can't control a character on it for like that long. Like it gets so infuriating. If you released like a Switch style thing where you like buy it for like $50 and it like attaches like seamlessly to your iPhone or iPad, I'm telling you, Apple could dominate this market so easily.
There are a lot of controllers like that out there, but
they're so clunky. They're so like ugly looking. Like Apple could do it.
Yeah, Apple could definitely do it, and just by putting Apple's name on it would be like, again, there's that kind of cachet of, oh, Apple made it, let me buy it.
Apple has to do the whole strategy, because like they've done like third-party controllers for so long. Like you can connect like an Xbox controller, PlayStation controller to you to your Apple TV, to your MacBook, all this stuff.
Yep.
They just need it. They need their own version of it, because it's so disconnected that people walk into an Apple store, they don't know what works with what. 90% of the people probably don't even know you can connect a controller to like your phone.
Right.
So if Apple did it, if they came out with the strategy, if they made it in a nice, like something that looks great, something that feels good to hold, like all these third-party controllers, they always suck. Like they're awful. Like it's like a bad design. They're uncomfortable. The joysticks are always like super stiff. They need like MagSafe. Yeah, someone got it right. Craig, MagSafe snap-on Switch controls. I'm telling you, it would be like the biggest thing in gaming, because people would buy it.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree with that at all. And who knows? Maybe we'll see that this week. Probably not, but maybe we will. You never know, ladies and gentlemen. As later this week, when we come back, we'll definitely be talking about that. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens during the week. If something unexpected happens and we need to do an emergency gadget cast, I mean, after Greg puts out his 27 videos, maybe we'll find time for that.
27. Whoa.
I don't know. I mean, you know, who knows? You're gonna put out one. You know, it's fine. Listen, I'm gonna try at least put out one. You know, who knows? Then we'll definitely come back and talk about it. Otherwise, we'll come back at the same time. We're gonna have a real quick conversation with our live stream audience here in a minute about that. But for you audio listeners, you know where we are. Of course, you can drop a note down in the show notes. You can email us. You can send us a voicemail. Again, all those links are in the show notes if you're listening to audio, and the link in the description below if you're watching on the live stream. And also, leave us a review, gosh darn it, on Apple Podcasts. That's the only way we get ranked. We have not been asking, which means we have not been getting, which means we have not been ranked in a very long time. So we need you to do that. Please help us out. Help a brother out. Sure. Well, I guess that's it, Greg. Are we gonna call it good? I think we're gonna call it good.
I thought you were leading to an ending there, but
yes, I am.
Awkward. So you just rolled with it. You know, you don't.
I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. So yeah, we're gonna do this. Listen, I got food to eat and things to do. So he's Greg. I'm Travis. This is Gadgetcast. We'll see you guys and gals next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right.
All right. Giggity, giggity. I don't know, 619. I'm going to see if I can maybe jump on Luke Miani's because I know he's doing live, and I'm going to see if he's available. If I'm available,
doing a live stream of the event.
He's going to, but he's not going to live stream the event. He's going to do it like a reaction during it, and probably so he's not going to show their event. He's just going to do a real time thing.
I did that like for one of the events. It was super popular. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I will do it again.
It's such an easy piece of content. I wonder if maybe I should do it. I don't know.
You should do it. You you should totally do it. Why not? Dude, I got so many live stream viewers when I did it. It was crazy. I don't know why, but I felt bad. I felt bad when I did it in a way because I think people were coming on expecting like us
to see it
show.
Yeah. But that's the problem.
Surprisingly, like I did like a pre-show talking about the event, which was super popular.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe hey, check my channel on Tuesday. I might do a pre-show like before the event, and
that's a good idea.
I'll hop off. But the amount of people that stayed on to like, I was like, listen, I'll stay on. Like, if you want to like pop a window open, watch the event with me, cool. The amount of people that actually stayed the whole time was shocking to me. I was like, I expected like 2 people to stay, and there was like hundreds, and I was like,
I think in some ways it keeps people because they want to hear the non-market spin. So, you know, we could do that on this channel. We could, I don't know, we'll figure something. I mean, I don't know, maybe we'll see.
I kind of feel like I want to get, like, if there is going to be an iMac there, I kind of want to get a recording of my raw reaction to it too.
Yeah. Well, you can just record yourself watching it.
Yeah, because I'm such a fan of that product. Like, I've used iMacs for so long, and I've wanted like a redesign for like 8 years. So I'm like very excited for the product itself. And if it's there, like I know like Luke is also like super excited for it. If it's there, I bet I'd have like a good reaction. So I kind of want to film it. But then if it's not there, it's gonna be like, all right.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Greg and I will talk about it this week, and we'll see if we want to do something on Gadgecast or if we want to.
They want to do it separate. AKA, they don't watch as me sitting there.
I don't know. Listen, you could still remember we can multi-stream to your channel too if you wanted to do it on your channel. So like we could do whatever or nothing at all. It's really up to us and Greg because I will not lead the charge on this. I will just come along for the ride. All right, I gotta go. I gotta eat, man. I'm so hungry. I've been hungry this entire show.
Yes,
I gotta go.
Also did not eat. So sorry, we gotta go. We gotta eat.
We gotta go. But we'll be back next week, and then we'll probably do maybe when we do the reaction for the stream, whether we do it after the fact or not, maybe we'll have people come on and tell us what they think about the thing. Maybe we'll do not one question go, but maybe like people can jump in real quick and tell us what they thought about the Apple thing. How about that? All right. Sure. Well, we'll see y'all guys and gals later. We appreciate you. Peace and love as always. Peace and love.